What's up? It's your favorite attorney, Ali Booker. All right, guys. So let's get it crack-a-lacking without further ado. Um, of course, you guys know you write into the show or you email me, booker@bookerlawfirm.com, and you couch your question. Okay. And then I'll respond to you with an option of you to either, to have it put on the show. Um, and I'll let you know what show it's on. All right, guys. Right now, sorry, I'm just trying to eat lunch. I just got out of one quart, two quarts, and I just got a whole afternoon full of mess. But I got to make sure I take time for you guys, the viewers, so that I can, keep you up to date on the issues. Okay, and so sorry. Just trying to do a lot at once. So excuse me. Someone emailed me regarding, well, a few people have emailed regarding child custody. And so we're going to really talk about child custody today. And sometimes I do nothing but child custody or nothing but family. Sometimes I take criminal questions and family. Sometimes I take civil questions. But I rarely take civil questions, but I'll take them every now and then depending on how interesting they are. Okay? But today is all about the family, okay? We're going to do a lot of custody questions today. Okay. First question, and a lot of these questions hail from Texas. I'm barred in the state of Texas, so, okay? And guys, I want you to also know that this is for entertainment purposes only. What I do is I rule on basically your case as you send it in, okay? Take it to the court of my public opinion. Now, I do happen to be a lawyer, but I have an opinion, okay? And that's what you're going to hear about on this particular show. Let's go. Can I marry and live with my fiance, who's a sex offender in the state of Texas, with my 3-year-old daughter? Jesus Christ, y'all. Let's just read this. This is crazy. My boyfriend was convicted of 3 counts of possession of child pornography nearly 11 years ago. I don't even like the way the person is saying nearly, because it's like you're trying to act like it ain't no problem. It's a problem. We'll keep going on. He had done all his time, 3 years TDC, and has complied with registration up until last year. Sorry about that. Up until last year, when extenuating circumstances caused him to fail to register. He registered in his county, Harris, this year, but was arrested on a warrant for not registering in another county, McClellan, which he never lived in, as they wouldn't let him register due to the location of a school bus stop being so close to his father's home, where he would have been staying. I bonded him out, and I have him here in my county, Gray County, with his bondsman's approval. I'm wondering if A, he can register here while out on bond, and B, if we can get married and move him into my home with myself and my 3-year-old daughter. I was told he has no restrictions about being around children, so that it's at my discretion. I'm worried that this won't be as simple as we thought at first. I really want us to be married and established before he goes to court, as his court-appointed lawyer basically just flat out said that he'll be facing 2 to 10 years in prison. What can we do? Is there any way that we can fight this? Girl, I did not put on my robe. I need to go get my hot pink robe. I am ready to rule. Girl, I am bringing you to the court of my public opinion. Girl, no ma'am. No ma'am. Okay? Is there any way that we can fight this? Girl, the first thing somebody needs to do is fight you for custody. How about that? Okay? I'm sorry, but guys, this is crazy because I was thinking about a case where, the dad was a public, he had to register, okay? And he had, been convicted of sexual, offenses against women and has to register. Now has a daughter and wants unsupervised access and or custody of this daughter. And I am just looking, I just pay attention to things. I kind of look around and listen, guys, at the end of the day, I have children, okay? But I have to sleep at night, okay? And so do these judges that are hearing these cases. Okay? And at the end of the day, there are some things that we can get into in life that it's gonna follow us, and it's gonna change our life for the rest of our lives. And guys, getting adjudicated guilty of a sexual offense, being made to have to register for the rest of your life for at least 10 years is one of those things. And people seem to, one thing I always tell, my clients, because I've had people ask me this question before, is hell to the no, no, to the no, 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 hell to the no. You are not supposed to be living with a registered sex offender. I'm sorry, but listen, guys. Nicki Minaj is going through it right now because of her, situation. And, this gentleman is still being held in the court for these offenses. And it's serious when you fail to register. If you are a sex offender, you've got to register. And I'm getting ready to finish answering, just talking about this particular case in the court of my public opinion, because, ma'am, you're saying that your boyfriend was convicted of 3 counts of possession of child pornography nearly 11 years ago. You say nearly as if 11 years ago is a long time for a sex offender. Guys, I am so sorry. Sorry to bust your bubbles, but sex offenses and people who like to take possession of child pornography, people who rape, people who molest, I'm sorry, but those people rarely get well. It is not something that is easily fixed. It requires a severe and significant amount of critical and intensive patience as well as therapy, okay, for them to get through those type of urges. And it is something, just like people who have ever been alcoholics have to go to AA for the rest of their life. That's how it is for people like that. And the problem with sex offenders is that it's not the same as those who, have had a drug or alcohol addiction. For whatever reason, a lot of people that have had drug and alcohol addictions have been able to grasp and take in the fact that they are prone to drug and alcohol addiction, so that they realize that they have got to go to their classes, they have got to stay up to date with respect to having a sponsor, they have got to continually get therapy for drug and alcohol abuse. People say it all the time. Drug and alcohol abuse, once an addict, always an addict, even if it's been 30 years since you've used. Because it is a way of life for these people. It is ingrained and indoctrinated so deep within their every piece of their being that it is them. They are an addict. Does that make sense? And people who are sex offenders, they are a sex offender. Okay? And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm not saying that this is something that these people cannot heal from. I'm just saying it rarely happens, if at all. It's almost along the lines of trying to, get someone who's a narcissist to, not be a narcissist anymore. It's not something that is easily done, and people are rarely successful at it. Guys, the government and the law knows this. This is why these people are made to register for either 10 years or the rest of their lives. They have these long periods of registration because what they have done is of the family of criminal offenses that a person really cannot heal from. And most of the time someone is an offender, they are going to be an offender. And they have to be watched for the rest of their lives. And if not, at least 10 years. And with that being said, ma'am, it's been 11 years. This gentleman still has to register. So the government, the judges have determined, they've made a finding that whatever he did was so gross that he needs to register. That's the type of crime that he got, requires a lifetime registration. And he's got to register for a lifetime. Those are the terms. And that's just what it is. Okay? She's saying he did all his time in TDC and he's complied with registration up until last year when extenuating circumstances caused him to fail to register. Let me tell y'all something. There are no extenuating circumstances that you can run to the court with as to why you couldn't register. Okay? If Kenneth Petty doesn't have extenuating, if marrying Nicki Minaj is not an extenuating circumstance, then honey, deciding that you're going to move around and live in some town in Texas is not going to work. You have to register. have to register, you have to register. And there is no extenuating circumstance other than jail, okay? That can befall upon you that will force the judges and the courts to say, don't worry about it. You need to register, don't worry about it. Just go on about your business. We gonna look past it. Only time they're gonna look past it is if you was in jail. Okay? Because then you don't need to register because then you are being watched actively. Okay? So if he was not in jail, ma'am, I don't know what in the world you can find or that attorney can find in order to free him of this offense. If they show, and it's a systematic, it's almost like, yeah, you do have the right, you get your due process and you can take the case to trial. But it's one of those things that's like, riding a seatbelt. You either had that seatbelt on or you did not have that seatbelt on. So, girl, like Wendy Williams says, girl, he registered or he failed to register. And that's about it. And you can run whatever extenuating circumstance you want to run. I don't think that it is going to do anything to help him out. And that is just where I'm coming from, just from the court of my public opinion. But he has a lawyer, and you all need to, do what your lawyer says and talk to your lawyer about that. So I can't tell you if there's any way that you can fight that because I'm not apprised of the facts of this case. And I don't know. But I'm telling you that you just told me the lawyer said that he'll be facing 2 to 10 years in prison. So why you need to ask your lawyer if there's any way they can fight this. It's he's like, I have a court-appointed lawyer, and that's another thing, guys. Court-appointed lawyers are not. I mean, people like to try to argue that if you get a court-appointed lawyer, that the person's not working for you. They are held to the same standards and have to follow the same law, file the same motions and whatever as any other attorney. So, I mean, yeah, you may feel like you don't have as much power to cuss them out and talk crazy to them and not feel bad about it because you paid them. But they are still held to the same standard. And I honestly, within my own, this is just me personally, I feel like the only reason I don't like court-appointed attorneys is because you can't cuss them out and tell them and talk crazy to them. And tell them that you hired them and they gonna do what you said and blah, 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 like y'all like to do free-world attorneys. And that's the only difference, is that you know that if you try to cuss that individual out, they can either go to court and let the court know you did that and they don't want to be on your case anymore, which it takes a lot for them because they're used to being, we're all used to being cursed out and when you don't want to hear what we have to say. But it's the lack of control that you all believe that you have over that court-appointed attorney, because at the end of the day, in my personal opinion, it's just that you didn't choose the person. You didn't choose them, so you are using that against that attorney and saying, well, since I didn't get a chance to choose you, you're not working for me. And that's not true. That's not true. You can go give somebody $10,000 of yours and them not work for you, and you chose them. Right? So I'm just not gonna lean on the fact that just because someone's a court appointed, they're not working for you. That's not what it is. Because I'm telling you, it is plenty of y'all that can go pay a free world attorney that won't do a damn thing for you. Okay? Now, you said that he had extenuating circumstances. He was arrested. Okay, he was living in Harris County and he registered there, but he was arrested on a warrant for not registering in McClellan. Now you're saying that he never lived in McClellan because they wouldn't let him register due to the location of a school bus stop too close to his father's home where he would have been staying. So at whatever point the district attorney's office of McClellan, Texas, have determined that he did take up residence there and that he was denied, but that he was there. And they did not want him to be there before he was allowed to be there, before he had registered and was granted access. You can't do things behind the ball, Whenever you're dealing with courts and you don't have the authority to do something, you don't act until you get the authority. You don't go do the act and then seek the authority. Now, you can do that if you want to, but I tell my clients all the time, don't do that. That's not the proper way. Everything in court has to be done decent and in order. And when you are dealing with a court or a government body, you darn well better get the authority to do what you're trying to do if there's paperwork or orders out there that says you cannot. It does not mean you go do what you want to do and you then seek to go through the approval process. Okay? That's not the way it goes. It's backwards. Other way around. You seek the approval process first. That way they can know whether you're granted or it is denied. Okay? And then you move. So they determined more than likely that he went backwards and he was there. So, ma'am, that's an argument that you're going to have with that attorney out there in McClellan. Okay, to say that he didn't live there because, honey, I don't know. They clearly filed the case. And I'm not telling you the DA is going to file cases that they can make all the time, because sometimes they're not apprised of all the facts when they file the case, and as things go on, they determine they can't make the case. But honey, registering, I promise you, they more than likely going to run that case. They going to see what they can pop and what they can get. Because one thing that we don't play with is our children. And when I say we, I just say we as the people of America, we as the citizens of this state, we as the citizens of every county within it. Don't play with our children. And so we're not going to sit up there and let you do a whoopsie argument to not registering. Okay? Now I'm going to keep on going and bring you, I'm sorry, you're in the court of my public opinion. You may feel like I'm whooping up on you today, but I'm not. I'm just trying to give you a thought process and an outlook from another side, because yours, sweetheart, is all out of whack. Okay? The fact that you have a 3-year-old daughter and you're even asking a 3-year-old child, period. Okay? Because I would offer up to you that it does not matter, okay, whether or not his prior victims were male or female. You never know. If the child pornography, then keep the children away. Just be safe, and that is the reason why they don't care whether or not there will be girls or boys at that bus stop located near his father's home. They don't want him at that father's home. When you are, a person that has to register, you cannot partake in any festivities or live near any place where children are likely to congregate. That is going to be city pools. That's going to be parks. That is going to be libraries. That's going to be community centers. That's going to be schools. That's going to be bus stops. Anywhere where children are likely to congregate, you cannot have access to these places, okay? So that's why they wouldn't let him live there. And that's just it, and that's all. And so if he was not approved, and I'm going to go on to answering, I'm not really answering your question. I'm just taking you to the court of my public opinion, because I think you can answer your own questions, ma'am, because a lot of it just takes common sense. If he was not approved, ma'am, to live with his father near a school bus stop, where we're going to presume that children that are at a school bus stop are much older than 3 years old, because if they were not older than 3 years old, we wouldn't expect these children to be by themselves at a bus stop. Makes sense. So he can't even be around older children near a bus stop, but you're going to move him into the home with your 3-year-old daughter, who's too young to even properly make an outcry if she needs to. I am seriously questioning your skills as a parent. I know that parenting does not come with a handbook, but damn it, we are all endowed with common sense. And what the hell are you thinking, ma'am? And for you to go on and to say that, it's up to me, there are no restrictions about being around children. You just told me there are. You just told me he can't live near a bus stop, but he's going to be able to live in your home. Ma'am, they are not going to allow that. But you do what you want to do. And let me explain something to you about sex offenders, guys, and rapists, okay? I know because I represent them, okay? And they already know, I know you for who you are. It is what it is. They're people, and they deserve representation as well. But at the end of the day, that's why I'm able to just come to you like this and tell you, dear heart, they are very highly manipulative individuals. The gentlemen that are accused of sex crimes or alleged of sex crimes, whether it be sex trafficking, child pornography, any forms of child abuse, like assault, sexual abuse, those gentlemen are very cunning and very snide, okay, and very sneaky and very manipulative. And in fact, to the point that I have to be very abrupt with those gentlemen. Those are just people that it's almost like when you represent the con artists and they try to just talk you into whatever, they're always trying to sell sand to the desert. But whatever the hell they are selling, Ali Booker is not buying. Because I advise my clients properly, according to the law, according to what makes just plain common sense and what is right. And at the end of the day, I don't know who in the world told you that what you're trying to do is right. Let me explain something to you, ma'am. I don't know whether or not you have a child support order, but I'm going to show you how serious the state of Texas is about children living in the home with people that have been adjudicated of any sort of sexual offense and have to register. This is how serious they are. They are so serious that you have a duty. If there is a child support order in place for that 3-year-old, you have a duty to let that other parent know that you are going to be living and cohabitating with someone who has been in trouble like that for things like that. Okay? So people with those type of crimes, the criminal history, you have to tell. You have to tell your baby's father. If there's a court order, that court order, it's automatic in every court order in Texas that if you are going to cohabitate and live or have them spend the night at your house, you're going to be with a sex offender, you have to let the other parent know. And I would offer up to you that the government and the legislature has decided to put that provision off in every single child support order because they want to make sure that parent can come get their children from your stupid ass. Okay? I'm just being honest. They want that parent to know, hey, look what they're doing to your child. So if you think that this is not right, matter of fact, we're making it a law that the parent has to tell you so that you can go right as soon as you need to and take them for whatever custody you need to take from them because this is what they're doing to your child. Ma'am, if it was okay and it was right, you tell me why every child support order says that you have to tell somebody if you're going to live in the house with somebody like that. It's so many ways that the state of Texas uses to catch people that are like that and to keep children away from people like that I don't understand how you believe it's okay or that it's going to be simple to allow this man to cohabitate and live with you or that it's a good idea. And I'm just really questioning your judgment. And I understand that they are manipulative and they will tell you all types of things, but ma'am, honestly, according to my public opinion, I'm ruling you need to leave this man alone. And I know you are not thinking about marrying this man. Honey, for the love of God, for the love of your child, you need to leave that man alone. No, ma'am. And we are going to act like we never had this conversation. And you are never going to put your child in harm's way like that ever again. And you are not alone. I get lots of people who ask me this question. And I tell every last one of y'all the same thing. Sometimes God, the universe, if you don't believe in nothing, you believe in science, you're endowed with the thought process and the analytical reasoning and the ability to do so. That's what makes you different from animals. You know that don't sound right, ma'am. You know this doesn't sound right. That's why you're writing here today. And I want you to use your common sense and you tell me if you think that this makes any sense. And then I'm just going to back it up, take it back, okay? It has nothing to it has a lot to do with the fact that he's been, in trouble for nasty stuff like that. But also, honey, what makes you think that you need to be marrying a man that is getting ready to go to jail? He's getting ready to go to jail. So what are you going to do? So now's a good time to marry him? Because he's getting ready to go to jail. So you're going to be a jailhouse wife, having to put all the money on his commissary, taking food out of your child's mouth, to put gas in the car, to go to whatever far location he's at, waste all your Saturdays, Sundays, and whatever, to be visiting this man in jail with a child that does not even belong to him. Honey, you need therapy, girl. And a lot of us need therapy. It's good for everybody to go to therapy. But I especially want you to go because somehow you are susceptible easily. You are an empath, I believe, I guess. I don't know. I'm not I am. One of the things I want to do is become a licensed therapist, but I'm not one. But you seem to be you're an empath. Ma'am, you need a therapist. And if you were my client, I would refer you. I would tell you that I would like for you to go get therapy. And I do tell my clients that sometimes there are times that, sometimes we're going through things and it's best that we, in order to be happy, whole, and healthy so that we can raise our children in the best way possible, just need to get a little help from someone who, has expertise in that area. And I'm just saying, you need to probably talk to someone, sweetheart, because I don't know what in God's name, where your family is. I just don't know. But this is not, everything about it sounds horrible. From the fact that he's, been arrested for this nasty stuff before, to the fact that he's been charged so many times with not registering, to the fact that he's manipulated you to the point where you don't even realize the fact that he can't live with his dad, but he's got you thinking he can live with you. Sweetheart, to where he's got you ready to marry him before he goes to jail. Like, all of this is just, it's so much wrong with it. Um, that I can't, and I've had to deal with cases, like I said, like this, and I tell my clients the truth. You need to get up out. You cannot be in a house with children. You should not be. I've also had women come to me, no, ma'am, you need to leave that man alone. If not, somebody can, intervene and take custody from you. In addition to the fact that your child may be harmed, and that's not a risk that you should take. And there should be no man, no human being on this earth that is going to put, themselves before your children. And so, therefore, you should not know of any human being on this earth that you would put before your child. I'm sorry. It's just best interest of that child. And with that being said, my court of public opinion says that is not in the best interest of the child. You need to can this idea. You need to move on. And I want you to do some soul searching with a therapist. Okay? With that being said, guys, that was just so much, okay, that we can't even really address very much else today. So just go ahead and make sure you're right. Add yourself, subscribe to the channel, of course. Okay. Add me on Instagram, your lawyer. Look for me on Facebook. Okay. I also have a TikTok account that I'm never on. Okay, so I don't even know how that works. But I do have Twitter somewhere. I don't even know how that works either. But email me, guys, booker@bookerlawfirm.com. Make sure you put, YouTube show in the heading so that I can get your questions and respond to them on the show. Until next time, court stands in recess, boo. Y'all have a fantastic day.